All right, so I'd like to introduce our next speaker for you, and this is Nicola Huelin, who is a women's business and life coach. Let's give it up for Nicola.
Thank you, Robert. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Can I just say, the view from where I'm standing is stunning. You know, becoming a coach is a real journey. Becoming a successful coach is the most amazing journey of a lifetime. And I feel really honoured to have been asked to come here today to share my journey with you. And most importantly, what are the 3 ingredients, those 3 lessons that I've learned in going on my journey from newly qualified, excited, and really nervous coach to this place I find myself in today of true coaching success. True coaching success. Let's think about that for a minute. What does it mean to be truly successful? Look around you. Have a look at all the other people in the room. Look how many of you there are. Now, I can guarantee if I asked every single one of you to stand up, don't worry, I'm not going to do it. If I asked every single one of you to stand up and describe to me what success looks like for you, I can guarantee that each and every one of you would give me a different answer. Because that's the amazing thing about true success, is there's no right and there's no wrong. And what success means can and will change over time. But what is true for each and every one of us in this room is that success, it's not a destination. True success is about the journey. Success, it's not about how successful you look to other people on the outside. True success is about how you feel and enjoy that success and the journey on the inside, each and every step of the way. So what does success look like for me? Okay, so I'll take you back a couple of years when I trained with Animas. And I quickly enjoyed those first seemingly small successes, but that are so meaningful and emotional for us as new coaches starting out. Qualifying, hey! Getting our first set of business cards. Launching our website. Getting our first paying client. Actually, for me, that came the other way round. My very first client was a high-end VIP client that I got even before I'd officially launched. My website wasn't even live, and they came knocking at my door. And in quick succession, I was blessed with quickly filling my client books with my ideal clients, people I loved working with. I smashed, doubled the financial goals I'd set for myself in the first year. I won multiple awards, including New Business of the Year and Most Inspiring Coach and Mentor. I was even invited to an honorary luncheon with Lady Camilla and Sir Winston Churchill's granddaughter. Woo! It was exciting times. I was contacted by a TV production company who wanted to make a short documentary about the work I was doing for international TV. And most recently, to give you an example of what success has looked like for me, last month I sent out my September invoices for £8,000. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole create your 7-figure business in 3 days hype. It's not about that. And to some of you, £8,000 for a month's invoices might not sound like a lot of money. And to be fair, for me, money is just a part of what my personal definition of success looks like. It's not about what I've achieved on my journey. For me, it's about how I've achieved it. So to put that into perspective, those £8,000 of invoices I sent out for last month were for 3 clients. And I'm a single mum. So I choose to only work a 25 to 30-hour week. And I'd just taken the whole of August off, actually more, I had 6 weeks off. And not only had I just come back from a 6-week break, I had just been through the most challenging, let's be honest, traumatic personal year of my life ever. And on a happier note, I spent 0 on marketing. So, how did I do it? What made the difference for me? Looking back, I wish there were things I could tell myself. But the great thing is, I can't go back and tell me that, but I can certainly share it with you today. And that makes me so happy to have the opportunity to do that. But before I share what made the difference for me, there are 2 things you really need to know about me. First, it's a secret. Hey, it stays with us. I am nothing special. Now, I'm not saying that so that you feel sorry for me, and I'm not fishing for compliments. And if my mum heard me say that, she'd be furious. She'd be like, Nick, but she's a bit biased. But I mean it. I'm just like every single one of you in this room. And I've had the same training. And the second thing you need to know about me is I've had it tough. Again, it's not about getting pity. The reason I want to tell you that is I think it's really easy when we're sitting looking at somebody who is perhaps a bit ahead of us in the journey and has achieved something we want to achieve or we deem as being successful. It's easy to assume that, they've had it easy, or they had a head start, or they have more money than me, or they've had some kind of unfair opportunity or a helping hand that I haven't had and that I'll never have. So when I started my coaching journey, having spent my entire adult life living abroad, I came back to the UK with 1 suitcase and 2 children. My world had been smashed into 1,000,000 pieces. And worse still, my children's lives had been smashed into 1,000,000 pieces. And I spent the first 6 months sleeping on the floor in my grandmother's front room. I started my coaching journey not even from scratch. I started my coaching journey from a logistical, financial, and emotional ground zero. So if I can achieve what I've achieved starting from there, so can you. Each and every one of you, no matter what your definition of success looks like to you. I don't have anything that you don't have. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true. I have the lessons I've learned in my journey and those 3 magic ingredients. But guess what? I'm going to share them with you now. So by the time we leave here today, you'll have everything that I had and more on my journey. So what is it that I learned? I've learned that the journey to true coaching success can be broken down into 3 parts. And that each part of that journey has 1 magic ingredient. Raise your hand if you'd like to know what those magic ingredients are. Hey, okay. Okay. So part 1. This is the part of the journey where we are learning and developing our coaching skills. That magic ingredient that I like to call coaching IQ. Now, let me just get a feel in the room here. How many of you are in the process of training with Animas or have already qualified with Animas? Raise your hand. Okay, brilliant. Well, here's the fantastic news. Part 1 for you guys already sorted, magic ingredient, because you're getting the best coaching IQ in personal transformation coaching available in the UK, if not the world. It's so powerful. I can remember when I started training, I turned up at my first weekend, and I'm a great student. I love all the theory. I remember thinking, this is great. It'll be, at least 6 months of learning and reading books and before I actually have to do anything. I came out of that first foundations weekend and we were expected to get a practice client, a real one. And I remember that first session, it was so powerful. Powerful for my client, who was in absolute tears for most of the session. And I know as coaches, you'll all get that that's not a bad thing. I wasn't torturing her. And it was very powerful for me to witness the power of this coaching IQ that Animas gives us. So, part 1, coaching IQ, magical ingredient. You've all got it, or you're getting it. And then when you qualify, but that's just the beginning. Because in part 2, some really amazing things begin to happen as we start and grow our coaching business. How many of you are just getting set up? Perhaps don't have any paying clients yet, but you're in the process of thinking about your business and starting to get set up. Raise your hand. Quite a few of you, early phase 2. And how many of you have, a nice bunch of clients and you've been going for anywhere between, say, 0 to 12 months? Raise your hand. Fair few of you too. Okay, and where are the oldies? The ones that have been going forever and they've got a real fully fledged coaching business. Come on, oldies. Yeah, there's some down here. We've got oldies sit at the front, so you must all be really young at the back there. Fantastic. So, what is it? What is that magic ingredient that really propels us in that second phase of starting and growing a truly successful coaching business? I'm going to write a word here. Okay. Business IQ is what I like to call it. You do need a certain amount of business knowledge. in order to get those paying clients. Let's face it, without clients, there is no business and we can't make a difference. What do I mean by business IQ? Now, don't panic, because you actually don't need to go out and learn everything there is to know about business. I want you to think about it like this. So building your dream coaching business is a bit like building your dream house. Everyone here live in a house? Yeah. What's the first thing you would do? You've got this amazing dream house in your mind that you want to build. You want that dream house to actually, when you've built it, look like the one you had in your head. You want to enjoy the process of building it, and you want it to be strong and sustainable and to love living in it. And the first thing you do is you would build the foundations. So in building your dream business, it's important to just lay the right business foundations in terms of having the right business IQ. And I put those into 4 cornerstones. There are 4 Ps. I'm just going to write them up on here for you. Here are your business foundations. And the first cornerstone is purpose. Why, what is your big why? Why do you want to have a coaching business? The great thing about being a coach is coaches generally are very purpose-driven. What's the difference you want to make in the world? Why do you want this coaching business over and above making money? The second cornerstone of business IQ is to have passion. How many of you feel passionate about coaching and what you want to do with your coaching? Great. So you already have that too. Coaches in general are very passionate. This is where people look less excited when I write this third one. Groan. You need a plan. If you don't want to take it from me, take it from someone like Benjamin Franklin, because failure to plan is planning to fail. It doesn't have to be complicated. With my clients, I use a simple 1-page formula. It doesn't need to be complex, but it does need to be what I call a Pareto plan. Are you familiar with the Pareto Principle? The 20-80 split and numbers. Pareto Principle exists in nature, science, and in business. And when we apply it here, it says that 20% of your efforts will get you 80% of your results. Now that's the kind of plan you want to get, so that you can turn your vision into a reality through the right strategies, which are broken down into clear and simple steps which keep you in that 20% zone. Because when you go into business for the first time, there are certain tools and techniques that you'll need to learn, but you don't want to learn them all. You only want to focus on the ones you need to master to stay in your 20% zone. So you have your plan. And the 4th P is people. You need people. 3 types of people. Everybody hyper-focuses initially on the clients. Oh, I need some paying clients. But don't forget about your network. Partners, people to collaborate with. Even if you're not going to have some formal kind of partnership, whether it's a joint venture, maybe it's just being each other's ambassador or a bit of mutual support. And then the other people are dream team, because you can't do it alone. It doesn't mean that you're going to employ loads of people. It might be about outsourcing, it might be about employing somebody as a freelancer, or it might be about getting cheap or free labor from family and friends. I get a lot from my mum, who does lots of free childminding for me, so I can do what I love to do. And she gets to spend time with her grandchildren, so win-win. So people. So business IQ. And I often hear, yeah, but Nick, you know what? It's all right for you. You've got 20 years background in business. You've got postgrad studies in business. You started off in marketing. You were a project and program manager. It's okay for you. Well, from the show of hands we've just had, I know you have purpose. I know you have passion. And if I were to work with you, or if you got any good business coach or mentor, in a matter of weeks, they could help you put together your Pareto plan. And people, just take another look around you. All the people in this room. What an amazing starting point. So you've got those 4. But actually, business IQ is not the magic ingredient. We're going to do a fill-in-the-blank exercise. First of all, what I haven't drawn on here is the most important part of the foundations of your business. At the core of your business, there's something missing here. Can anybody guess what it is? Michelle, brilliant. It's the heartbeat of your business. It's you. It's you. Because when you're in coaching, you're not selling a product. You're not selling a company brand. People are buying you. People are attracted to you. People want to work with you. You are your brand. You are the face of your business. So what's the secret ingredient here to making this work in part 2? Well, I like to call it coaching EQ, emotional intelligence, right? It's a big buzzword in the corporate world. And so as coaches, you have a huge advantage over every other kind of business owner out there, because this is the magical ingredient for making part 2 work. Why? Emotional intelligence. So this ability to be aware of and to control and to express our emotions and to manage interpersonal relationships with empathy with other people. That's what makes all of this work, and I'll tell you why. Because you can stay connected to your purpose and passion. That's the easy bit. When the going gets tough, and it will, I can't tell you the number of times on my journey, and I've had these moments where I've looked up and thought, remind me why I'm doing this. Why am I putting myself through this? Those are the moments where with your EQ, you will stay connected to your purpose and passion, and that will carry you through. Plan. What I don't want to see for any of you is once you've got that amazing plan, you've found the right strategy for you, and one of those strategies will be centered around marketing. Marketing and sales is really important. That's the lifeblood of the clients coming to work with you. You'll get that great plan. You'll know what to do. But so many people get stuck or never implement that plan because it can be scary. I can guarantee you there will be things in that plan that make total sense from a business perspective, and you'll be going, yeah, I can see that was really going to work. And then that plan will be sitting gathering dust while you procrastinate and go off and do other really shiny things like the washing and the ironing or looking for jobs online. How do I know that's true? Because the business stuff doesn't scare me, right? 20 years in business. Work for big corporates. Easy, small business. It's so scary when all of a sudden you are the face of a business that means everything to you and you're very passionate about. And remember I said there'll be things in your plan that make complete business sense that you really want to do, but they take you outside your comfort zone. Well, I had one of those as well. Just the idea of doing this thing, it had been a phobia. I'd call it a phobia. Since childhood, I'd had recurring nightmares. You know those dreams where you wake up in the morning and they're still really real and your stomach's in knots? I'd get the runs, palpitations, cold sweats, the idea of doing this thing, the idea of speaking in public. Oh my God. But it was my coaching EQ that helped me get through that. Firstly, to recognize that I did want to do it. And that the emotions that were coming up for me were just trying to keep me safe. But it wasn't really a saber-toothed tiger. My life wasn't really in danger. It just felt that way. And coaching EQ wasn't just about doing it myself. How did I take that step in the last 12 months of going from complete and utter speakerphobe to standing, let me just enjoy this moment, standing on this stage talking to an audience like you guys. I promised myself I'd stand there like that as well. And I'm enjoying it. That for me is, I would never, ever, ever have believed that. So how did I get through that part? 2 things. Where's Osman? Okay. Step 1 was Osman sitting at the back. He was training and looking for practice clients. And I went, yeah, I'll do that. I said, Osman's really good and he'll get you to say the bits you don't really want to say, like, I really want to do speaking. And thanks to that one session with Osman, it helped me just take that first step. Okay, it's a journey, but I took that first step. The second thing I did, because this is really hard too, coaching EQ in your business is about having the courage to show up as yourself in your business. It's the scariest thing to do, and it's so hard. Because when I started, so I had my session with Osman and thought, okay, yeah, I can do this, right, I'm going to take the first step. Got on my computer. I'm going to research, study, look at the experts. You know, what are they doing? What are they saying? Learn all these frameworks, watch TED Talks, read books. What makes a great talker? What makes a great speaker? What do they talk about? Oh, I'm going to copy that. Oh, that's great. I'm going to learn that. I'm going to copy that. And I'll go to Toastmasters. There's another tip for anyone who wants to do speaking. And what I would do is I would get good at just delivering other people's words and stuff. It wasn't enough. Because for my business, as a coach, to attract your ideal clients and to take them through that journey of know, liking, and trusting you, you need an emotional connection. And people can only connect with you emotionally if you're there, if you're present, if you've shown up as you. Because if you show up as anybody else or a variation of yourself, it's not going to be congruent. People can sense it. So then I work, where's Robert? Hey! So then I work with Robert. And we've spent some sessions together. And guess what Robert's doing? Robert's coaching me to be myself. I tell you what, it's really much harder than you would imagine to stand up here to an audience like this and just be yourself. But it can be done. So it's coaching EQ, because no matter how good your plan is, if you don't have the courage to take those steps and to be aware of those emotions that will be coming up, it might not be full-blown fear like me, but fear works on a spectrum. And it might just be that daily procrastination. Yeah, just a bit busy, do it tomorrow. And EQ, for those of you who are thinking, okay, but I need to know about marketing. How am I going to get the paying clients? Your coaching EQ is the magic ingredient. Because marketing, if you get your marketing process right, that marketing process that starts from the point that somebody becomes aware that you exist, right through to the stage that they have known, liked and trusted you, and they want what you do, they like what you do, and they're ready to buy, that whole journey that they go through. It's about 2 words, marketing: conversations and relationships. So again, as coaches, you have got an amazing advantage over every other kind of business owner, because you have those skills, innate, and that you've developed through your coaching IQ, to have really powerful conversations. Listening. I think a lot of people there's this myth that marketing is about broadcasting your message and promoting yourself, and it's about conversations to begin with. And a conversation is a 2-way thing, and it's an emotional connection. So the ability you have as coaches to ask powerful questions and to listen and to show genuine curiosity for your ideal clients, and to build rapport and trust, all of those things that we learn to do with our clients on a one-to-one basis. If you have a clear marketing strategy in your 20% zone with clear steps, and you apply your coaching EQ, it just flows. Now, there are different marketing strategies. There are online and offline. And the one that I focused on is about building a community. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of how I did that, because I did another talk not that long ago that was with one of the London lectures, and that's on YouTube. So if you want to dip into that and get more information and detail on, well, how would I use community building as a strategy for just attracting my ideal clients? It's a very powerful one, because when you have the right plan and you bring the right people into your orbit, and you're using your coaching EQ, and you're showing up as you don't have to worry where the next client is coming from. So coaching EQ. So you're at this point where you've started and you're growing your dream coaching business. And you're working with more and more clients. You've got the right 20% plan, which you're implementing with ease, and using your coaching EQ because you have a coach and or mentor. Hands up, those of you who currently have a coach. Okay. So for those of you who didn't raise your hand, Hands up those of you who are currently looking for practice clients. Right. Those who don't, keep your hands up. Those who don't have ooh, up. What's your name? Amina. Right, hand up. Come and see Amina and these other ladies and gentlemen who have raised their hands who are looking for practice clients. It's the most powerful way of boosting your EQ and making all of this happen. But that's only part 2. Because part 3, that is where the magic really happens. Let me ask you a question. Okay, so you want to, let's imagine you want to hire a personal trainer. Would you hire a personal trainer who weighs 30 stone, is diabetic, depressed, and can barely bend over to pick up a pair of socks? My guess, probably not. On the other end of the spectrum, would you hire this body beautiful personal trainer, looks like a god or a goddess in personal training and health terms, but you know or you sense they look like that because they're stuffing their face with steroids every day, or they've spent most of their life laying on the operating table? Smells fake. My guess, you probably wouldn't want to work with them either. You see, the third most important ingredient is the one that's... Let me ask you these questions. How can we expect clients to want to work with us, to transform their lives for the better, if we don't do that for ourselves? And how can we expect clients to have courage and to overcome their fears and limiting beliefs, to do the thing that they really want to do deep down, if we're not doing it for ourselves? I made this up all by myself. I call it coaching AQ, coaching authenticity. So you're all familiar with the wheel of life, right? So when I was talking in phase 2 about laying the foundations for your business, in phase 3, this wheel of life is the foundation for everything. Your business and your business foundation sit on top of that. And those wheel of life foundations are only going to be as strong as you show up authentically in every part of your life, living true to your core values. Now, what does that look like? How do you bring coaching AQ into your life? And does it really make a difference? I want to tell you about my personal experience of coaching AQ. And the way I describe it in my world, it's a bit like my dream life. Imagine it as this island, this beautiful island out on the horizon. And on this beautiful island, life's amazing. I'm living life true to my deepest core values. Life's easy, it's always sunny. And where I am now, or where I was, I'm living on this platform in the middle of the ocean. It's okay. It's dry, safe, it's comfortable. I'm really used to it. But that's really where I want to be with my true values. Now, everybody's values are different, and two of my core values are love and family. I like triads. Let's add a third: harmony. And on my platform, you see, when you're not living life true to your core values, even if it's just, for me, it was just 5% of the time, you start to get these wafts of smoke. Because that platform you think is dry and safe and comfortable, it's actually burning. You don't sense it all the time, but the smoke and the flames are starting to build. They say, actually it's more than that, statistics reveal that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic abuse at some stage in their life. 1 in 4. And the problem with that is the emotional abuse is just as damaging as the physical abuse. If I'd have heard that statistic a few years ago, I probably would, propaganda. Or that only happens to other people. That would never happen to somebody like me. And yet, there I was on my burning platform, somehow, despite what I do, supporting other mothers in business, with this fusion family I'd created, looking so successful and harmonious and in love to the outside world, I'd found myself in this toxic relationship. I understand when you're standing on the edge of that burning platform, no matter how beautiful your dream island is, the voices that go through your head, what if I can't make it to the other side? What if they're shark-infested waters? What if I'm not a good enough swimmer? It takes so much to take that leap of faith, especially when you have these voices in your mind. What if the impact kills me? What if I can't keep my head above water? And worse still, I'm taking people with me, my children. What if I'm not strong enough or good enough to keep myself above water and them? Now, I'm not saying that everybody's burning platform will be as traumatic and smoky and flamey as mine. But everybody has their version of a burning platform. Everybody has that leap of faith they want to take. That only takes one step to jump off that burning platform. And guess what? I'm in the water. That island is dreaming. That platform is surviving. The magic happens when you're in the water. That's the only place that true success can be found. That's called living. So my 3 points. And I would invite all of you, first alone, and then with your coach, and then with the coach that you're going to find before the summit day ends, to think about those 3 areas. Now, I've portrayed it as a linear journey. Journeys are linear. But those 3 magic ingredients, if you think about the yin and yang symbol, I wouldn't know how you draw it, but with 3 parts. So it's not first you get your coaching IQ and then you do your coaching EQ and then you live your coaching authenticity. They're 3 synergistic ingredients and they all come hand in hand. Think about those for yourself, and I implore you, continue with your coaching IQ. Bring your coaching EQ to your business and to you as a coach in your business to have the courage to show up as you, brilliant and unique you, and live your coaching AQ. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicola. Thank you. So now we've got time for some questions for Nicola. I can see hands up. Well, I didn't finish the sentence, and there was a hand up already. And a great point was raised. If you could say your name before you ask your question, that would be wonderful as well. Okay, off we go.
Hi, my name's Anya, and I met Nicola earlier, quite by chance. I just wanted to ask about the, I think you called it Pareto plan, and how did you come up with your plan? What did it consist of, and who guided you in that?
Okay, well that's a really good question, thank you. I guess I'm quite privileged when it comes to planning because I have a business background and I was a business consultant for many years, and a lot of that work involved business planning for companies and project and program planning. So I had a bit of a head start in that perspective. But essentially, the process is simple and anybody can apply it when you start with your big vision, getting absolute clarity on what is the vision. Be careful, not just for your business, but for the lifestyle that you want to have that goes with that business. And then working backwards from that. Say, okay, well, if that's my big vision, think of it a bit like a mountain, and that vision will be the summit of the mountain. But you wouldn't necessarily just throw on a backpack and head straight on up. A seasoned mountaineer would have an idea of some kind of roadmap for getting to the summit. It's a journey. So if we work backwards, there would be different base camps. Maybe base camp, camp 1, camp 2, camp 3. There will be a roadmap for reaching that summit. And when you have an idea of what your vision is and working backwards, really your Pareto plan can then just focus you within that big picture of what's that first leg of the journey from here to. Different people like different timescales. Maybe your base camp is thinking about, well, what's my outcome in 12 months' time, for example. Sometimes that's a nice framework to work with. And getting clear about where you want to be in 12 months' time. And then working back from there. So, okay, how? When people talk about strategies, okay, so you get clear about your outcome, what you want to achieve, but how are you going to achieve it? So there are different ways of going up a mountain. Are you going to hire a helicopter and be flown? Are you going to buy a donkey and learn how to ride and go up on the donkey? Are you going to buy a great pair of hiking shoes and walk? Will you go alone? Will you go with others? Will you sing on the way? And breaking that down, once you know your strategy, the how, you break it down into step by step. So if you know you're flying, okay, step 1, I've got to find a company that will hire me a helicopter or earn enough money to go buy my own helicopter or train as a helicopter pilot because I want to be the one flying it. So it all depends on your strategy and then breaking it down. In marketing terms, because often the big part of the plan is marketing and how do we get our paying clients. So there are some important ingredients to have in place to make sure that your marketing plan gets you in that 20% zone. So even if to niche or not to niche, that is the question, and I know Carrie is going to be talking about that later. Even if you choose not to niche in terms of your brand and your marketing, it's still important to have a really clear idea of who your ideal client is. And what I mean in terms of that is, when you work with people, it's important to give them the best of you. And when they get the best of you, that's going to have a remarkable effect on word of mouth and referrals for your business. So it's really important to work with the people who energize you, who you love being around. And even if you don't want to think of it in terms of demographics, if they're male or female, just what kind of person are they? What kind of personality? What are the symptoms they're feeling that have brought them to you in terms of what you do? And just get absolute clarity in terms of your ideal client. And then know yourself. What are your preferences? It's great examples given by Catherine earlier about how she hates technology and the whole online social media side of her marketing is not for her. She found her strengths through talking. So it's really important when we're putting together a marketing plan to have absolute clarity on who are the ideal people we want to be working with and who are our strengths, so that we can dovetail the two and make sure that the steps we put in place are the most effective ones that get us in that 20% zone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, pretty much. It occurred to me while you were speaking, actually. It feels a bit like the future placement that you did.
Yeah.
You did with Robert on the Hearts and Minds weekend just recently.
Yeah.
On a sort of more business-like setting.
Yeah, absolutely. Business, and don't forget life. I think it's really important to work holistically, because can you any of you remember the reason why you wanted to go into business for yourself? I mean, the chances are there were things like you want to perhaps have more flexibility, you want to be your own boss so that you get to choose when you work and who you work with and how you work. You want to perhaps have more balance. You perhaps want to be able to have more choice about time and how you spend it on other passions or lifestyles. Maybe it's about making that big difference in the world and making a positive difference to other people's lives. So when we're business planning, it's really important to plan in all of those other facets of success too, because it's not just about having the successful business and the clients. Success is multifaceted, so don't forget all the other things, the checkbox, that everything needs to be ticked in order for that business to serve the original reason why you went into business for yourself.
There was a hand here. Katrina's got her hand up.
Hi, I hope this isn't too personal. I just wondered, when you were talking before about being the person that you are and being authentic to yourself, so if beforehand you were trying to be somebody else, who were you trying to be and why do you think you were trying to be like that?
That's a really good question. Okay, so I can distinctly remember, I gave you the speaking example. So I thought, and I'm still at the early stages of my speaking journey. When I first started speaking, I thought the best way to become a great speaker is to be like the other great speakers, and to, how are they moving their hands, and what are the words they're using, and what are the stories they're going to tell, because I'm thinking, people want to hear about me. It's really, personally, that pushed some buttons for me. It was really uncomfortable. When I started off in my coaching journey, I was pretty uncomfortable about blowing my own trumpet, pretty uncomfortable about thinking that people would want to hear about me and what I had to share and my story. So yes, to answer your question, in terms of the speaking, I was looking to who were deemed as great speakers. But they were great for their audience. But that didn't help me connect with my tribe. So I needed to show up as myself, and it was through working with coaches and getting more experience that became apparent. And the other example I have is in terms of my coaching business, when I was going online. And so I've successfully grown a community of around, there's about 400 women in business. And we have an online presence for this community. And when I first got started, I was thinking about, okay, so what can I post? So I'd be looking around thinking, okay, well, you know, they're successful and they're intelligent, and I was sharing everybody else's posts because clearly their posts would be more interesting or inspirational or relevant or informative than anything I'd have to say. And then I remember one day, I can't remember why I did it. I think I just felt really passionate about something, and I had a little rant and I posted it off. And whereas before I'd be getting a couple of comments and, oh, that's nice, get a little like, get a little bit of, oh, thanks for sharing, Nick. And the day I sent something that was really came from my heart, the thread of feedback and the conversations that it triggered, and the level of people saying, oh, yes, that's so inspirational. I'm thinking, really? Oh, yeah, this is just my stuff. And I started to do that more and more. So I guess it was a journey, but at the beginning I was looking to, well, who do I think are the successful people that I hold as a role model? And whilst it's good to model excellence, so look to people in your industry, look to people who inspire you, and yes, model their behaviour. You know, what did they do to get there, and what were their key ingredients? But don't copy them. It's a bit like painting. You know, if you think of your business as a painting, you've got a blank canvas, and yes, you want to learn about the tools that are available to you. You might not want to use every paint, crayon, pencil under the sun, every type of paintbrush. You've got to choose the materials that are right for you, and that comes back to your strategy and focus. And then you can model excellence, so you can draw inspiration from other great works of art that are out there and have a genre or a style. However, if you copy excellence, when your painting's done, you're just going to end up with a copy. And people will buy copies, but they don't sell for as much as an original masterpiece. And each and every one of you is an original masterpiece. Does that answer your question?
Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much. Now I know that before, first of all, let's give Nicola a round of applause. I know that Nicola has a question of us.
I do. I have a question. Actually, it's a bit of a favour because, you know, I was talking about my speaker journey. So I took a very big step today. I decided I would use today to get some footage to create a speaker reel. That feels huge to me. That's me saying to myself, you know, I'm going to take this seriously. I'm going to do some more speaking gigs. And I have this gentleman sitting down here with a camera. And what would be great is to have, if there are about 3 people who would be up for commenting on my talk, just to say something you enjoyed, if anything moved you, or what you found particularly interesting, to give some feedback from my speaker reel, I would really appreciate that. So Kai is going to be around. Just 10 seconds is all it needs, and he'll be around at the beginning of lunchtime. So if you'd be prepared to volunteer, will you come and say hello to me? And I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. It's a big step for me, so thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before you all run out and meet Kai and do lunch, before that happens, let's just spend a little bit of time just thinking about, so what are we getting from today? What are our key takeaways so far from the day? So let's just have 5 minutes having a chat on our tables, just exploring what's our key takeaways, and then we'll share some of those in a moment. So let's just spend 5 minutes doing that. Okay, so let's share some of our takeaways. Now, there are, if I remember correctly, I think there were 15 tables, and there were 8 people per table. So if we had everybody's takeaway, we'd be here all day and all night, and probably a bit of tomorrow. So maybe if we just kind of do a few takeaways. Does somebody go, yes?
Yes.
Cocktails all day. Okay, let's do that. Let's just do cocktails and takeaways. So let's hear a few takeaways that people have had so ready for today. Let's start. There's a hand down the front here. Antonio at the front. Just wait for Karen to get there.
Hello, I'm Antonia. I've decided that AQ costs money.
AQ costs money?
In terms of turning down clients who you can't work with.
Ooh, interesting. So what would you do about that? Said the coach in the room full of coaches.
What's success and higher value on your AQ than on money, really?
Yeah, so there's something really interesting about what are your values, and I think both Catherine and Nicola spoke about this idea about knowing what your values are, knowing what works for you, and that will help you to move forward. So yeah, it might cost you money, but I think that's something about the short term costing you money. But in the long term, as Catherine was saying, if you've got the right people in the room working with you, it's going to be awesome. If you've got the wrong people, that's going to knock your confidence, that's going to take you on a whole other journey that you might have to recover from. Lovely stuff. Who's got another takeaway? There's one at the front. Here was Nathan. Nathan, go, Nathan, go.
We talk about courage because both of them they have something in common, and it was about courage. That the courage is not about absolute fear; it's about having that fear and that emotional intelligence and the confidence that actually comes after fear. So for both, we thought that was very, very appropriate to successful coaching and go over the boundaries and to meet that courage, really.
Yeah, lovely. Lovely. I think, we all work with our clients. We help our clients develop their courage so they can take the steps to do the things that they want to do. I think we need to remember that, we can be clients too and work with a coach to take the steps that we need to take and to build our own courage to do that. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Let's have another one. Let's have one from a table over there somewhere. The naughty table at the back. Let's have one from that one. Yeah, Nina?
So we discussed the importance of being yourself, but also not leaving your previous life behind and trying to run away from that, rather integrating those skills and experience into what you are today as a coach.
Yeah, lovely. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, so integrating stuff, not just leaving it all behind and pretending that life didn't happen, but kind of using that life as fuel to help you move forward with what it is that you want to do as a coach. Awesome. Let's take one more before lunch. Who's got one more takeaway that we can have? Over here. Marcus is on his way.
Isabel, we thought that the big one would be to go alone.
Don't go alone, yeah. I think both of the speakers talked about, that the community, the people that you work with, and this community as well, and how can you use that community to help you on your journey, whether that's through courage or doing things for free or at a low price, but how can they help you to achieve the things that you want to achieve? And one of the things that Nicola said that I really liked was this idea of the magic happens in the water. It made me giggle because I'm not a very good swimmer. I thought, that's not magic when I'm in the water, but that idea that the magic happens while we're actually living and out there doing our stuff. And to remember that, so to get out there and do that. And when you're thinking about building your business, not just doing it in your head, but actually getting out there and taking the steps and making things happen. Awesome stuff. Fabulous. So has anybody got anything that they're burning to say as a takeaway before we head off for lunch? There's one here at the front.
I think it's
really important for everyone to realise, and we've talked about this, is to stop and look at where you come, how far you've come. And we forget to do that. We celebrate successes. And this was something that we really felt very strongly about, and all had goosebumps there.
Cool, lovely, yeah, celebrate success every day. So it's important. Mix and match how you celebrate it, not just the wine and the cocktails, but enjoy celebrating your success. Okay, so before we go to lunch, one of the questions that Nicola asked was this idea of who was looking for a coach to work with them. And some people are looking for practice clients. So if you're looking to have a coach and you would like somebody in the room to coach you, just raise your hand for a moment. If you're looking to be coached, fabulous, lower your hand. And if you're looking to coach somebody, to have somebody as your practice client, could you raise a hand? Okay, so that was group coach speed dating. Okay? So find that person, look at those hands, make something happen. We're going to go for lunch, then after lunch we're going to hear from the stars. So let's have a great lunch. See you now.